Hi there family, hope you're well, hope you're great. It's me Moses Kamau and I'm back again. Yeah, tumetulia, I'm just here at home doing some 1, 2, 3 things, and the Lord has been good, He has been great. And so I decided to share this thing, and I thought it was important, I thought it was wise that you people, you children of God, you family of God, know this thing, okay? And so what I want to share today is simple, is justification or being made right with God through faith and not through works, you see? Yeah, so apparently most of us Christians or most of us believers actually do think that to be justified with God, or maybe to be made right with God, to be made close with God, you need to put in a lot of work, you need to put in a lot of effort, you need to like follow the law strictly so that you might be made right with God, you see. It's like it's a whole process. It's like it's a whole way you have to work out, think out, so that you might be made close to God, or so that you might be made right with God. But the truth of the matter is, that's not the truth. You see, it's not the truth. Like you don't need to put in so much work, so much effort to be close to God. And apparently, or the truth of the matter is, it's vice versa. It's God who like builds a bridge towards you so that you might be close to Him. You see. And you know how it is, the Old Testament issues with the law, the Torah and Pentateuch. You see, it's made of, or some Christians, or maybe theology, what makes us believe that we have to build a bridge towards God. But that's not the truth. It's vice versa. It's God who builds a bridge towards us, you see. And this is what the Pharisees were trying to do. Or this is what ancient Israel or the old Israel was trying to do. Like they were really trying to follow the law. They were really trying to keep the commandments, to be in line with the commandments as a means of getting close to God. And this was not the true intent, you see. God wanted it to be like a mutual relationship. It's like a friendship. Like what do you see, a father-child relationship, you see, with us, or with us believers, you see. And so the Israelites, that the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the leaders of the religious sect at that point, like they used to emphasize so much on following the law. Like you had to keep the 10 Commandments strictly so that you were made right with God. Do you see? They emphasized that so much. As a matter of fact, they had subdivided the 10 Commandments into 632 other commandments. Do you see? And the Israelites, the children of Israel, they struggled with this for a very long time. As you all remember, the Pharisees, you see, like they would keep the law so much such that they forgot room for compassion. You see, they forgot room for friendship. They forgot room for all these things. They didn't know that the Lord wanted to have a relationship, a genuine relationship with them. You see, it's the same way like a father would want to have a relationship with his children. He wouldn't want like his children to always fear him, his children to always look to the right, to the left, like what is going on, what is not right. That was not the case. That was not the true case. The true point is that the Lord wanted to have a relationship with them. And it's what, even at this point, that's what the Lord advocates. That is what the Lord wants. He doesn't want you to stress so much, like, oh, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What did I do this right? Did I pray right? Well, the Lord wants you to rest in Him. The Lord wants you to be joyful, to enjoy His walk, or to enjoy your walk with Him. You see, that is what the Lord advocates, okay? And today, actually, I had a scripture, or our guiding verse today was from the book of Romans chapters 9. And so from around verses 30. And here's what Apostle Paul is saying. Apostle Paul is speaking to the Romans, and he's telling them not to be like the Israelites, you see, because salvation was primarily from the land of Israel, you see. And what the Romans were doing is that they had tried to copy their way of living, you see. And Israel at that point was very, very religious, extremely religious. They were trying to build their way up to God rather than letting God pour out His love, His compassion towards them, because God was very compassionate. And the Romans at that point were trying to inculcate the Israelitic culture, you see, circumcision, the Sabbath, doing these things. They thought that those steps would lead them to God, but that was not the case. Do you see? Here's what Apostle Paul is saying in the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 30 says. What does all this mean? Even though the Gentiles were not trying to follow God's standards, they were made right with God. Okay? And it was by faith that this took place. But the people of Israel, who tried so hard to get right with God by keeping the law, never succeeded. Why not? Because they were trying to get right with God by keeping the law instead of trusting Him. They stumbled over the great rock in their path. God warned them of this in the scriptures when He said, I'm placing a stone in Jerusalem that makes people stumble, a rock that makes them fall. but anyone who trusts in him will never be disgraced. You see? So Apostle Paul was warning the Romans that do not be like the Israelites, okay, who had tried so much to work out their way towards God. You see, they had tried so much literally, like to make God happy by keeping the law. But that was not the case. The Lord wanted the Israelites and also the Romans to trust in God, to trust in him. And so, dear beloved, I'm not saying that you do not keep the law. I'm not saying that you do not follow the law. The law is good. As a matter of fact, if it was not for the law, you will not know right from wrong. But what I'm trying to say is that let your relationship with God be built on faith. You see, be built on faith that number one, He is a loving God. Okay. Number two, He is your Father. Okay. And number three, He is a compassionate God. You see, because if your relationship with God is based on the law, there are times you'll be on the right side of the law, and at times you won't actually keep the law. So does it mean that when you don't keep the law, is that you're not His child? The point is, you're His child, whether you keep the law or not. But the law should not even be in the picture. As a matter of fact, being children of God, we have to keep the law, okay? But what should be in the picture, the main weight of this relationship should be number one, faith, and number two, love. Do you see? Have love. Love others, love God, love your family, love your friends, love everyone. That should be the genesis, it should be the foundation of the law. Do you see? So, dear beloved, the Lord loves you, whether you keep the law. The Lord loves you, whether there is the law or whether the law is not there. He loves you, He's a Father, and that is what should be there. So, number one, regard justice. Number two, love compassion. Number three, regard mercy, and be abounding in steadfast love always. If you follow these things, trust me, there will be no need for the law. There will be no law to break, because the law, Christ says that the law is summarized in love. Do you see? When you love God, number one, when you love your people around, and also when you love yourself, then there will be no law to break, because the law, all these 10 commandments, they're summarized in one thing: love. About love for God, but to love for your neighbors, and also love for yourself. So, dear beloved, do not let this law be a stumbling block. Indeed, the Lord said that I'm putting a stumbling block in Israel, and many will fall to it. But Apostle Paul is like encouraging the people of Rome, telling them that observe this stumbling, and this stumbling block was the law. You see, the children of Israel really clung to the law. They really struggled with it, and it was a stumbling block. They tried to get God right with God, but it didn't work. You see. So, dear family, dear friends, the Lord does not make us right with God. It's our relationship with Him. It's our love for Him, our love for the children, for people around, and our love for ourselves that make us right with God. So, regard faith. Whatever He promised to do, He will do. Love the Lord, love Jesus, follow Him, follow His precepts, and also love people. And then we'll be good to go. We'll be made right with God. We'll always be perfect with God. So, I hope you learned something. God bless.